There are some days in our lives when we come across certain unexpected phenomena which leaves a lasting impression. Today is one of those days as we once again travel to the Khatarshnong area to experience the culture of sustainable cultivation practiced by the villagers of this pristine organic remote region of the Khasi Hills. Traveling time to Khrang village via Mawsiang and Swear is about 2 hours from Shillong. The distance is some 50 odd kilometers. The weather is slightly wet and the sky gloomy with a hint that there might be more rain later in the day. We move towards Mawsiang and take a left to Swear and proceed to our destination. As we continue on our journey, the sky seemed to clear up, with hardly any rain falling along the way. The weather was favoring us apparently. We traveled to Khrang village, one of the biggest villages and easily accessible in Khatarshnong area. Today was the Khrang market day and quite a number of oranges were being sold at the market. Khatarshnong is also known for its Khasi Mandarin oranges. Besides oranges, there were betel nut and betel leaf being traded and other vegetables being sold. The Khatarshnong characteristic call in the wild was being played out before us by our guide, Ethelbert. We were setting foot on the Khongramai ancestral land where once in 12 years the family comes together and plants food crops like potatoes, sweet potatoes, yam, tapioca, maize and millet. The organic farming practice was a slash and burn cultivation, better known as repshirti or jhum cultivation. Previously thought to be an environmental hazard, the jhum cultivation today is recognized as an organic method of farming which does not use fertilizers or pesticides in cultivation. It is a sustainable practice for a family or two in sparsely populated villages of Khatarshnong. In slightly densely populated areas with smaller land holdings, this form of cultivation may not be feasible as there is no gap years in the rotation of planting crops on the land. The farmers are busy clearing the undergrowth and harvesting their crops. Sorghum, a rounded lightweight dry kernel similar to maize, grows on stalks and is a popular snack in the Khasi Hills. The organic farming land is also known as Wahjri. It is adjacent to Khrang village. Everyone was working, both young and old were busy rehearsing their chores in the field. Today, we are about to see for the first time traditional farming practices including the drying process by firewood of millet or kraai. So I'm in one of the fields here in Khrang village in Khatarshnong, and we are about to witness something very traditional, a traditional kind of farming here where you see this woman cutting away the stalks of this plant called sorghum, which is a kind of a snack. And over there we will again see something which has been practiced for centuries. This is where they dry out the millet. And to dry the millet, what they do is they put it on a platform and they burn a fire to dry the millet. And this is something which we have never seen. Come and join us as we move in Khatarshnong and see the way of life of the people here. The family has carried on with the legacy of their forefathers in planting their food crops, practicing the ingenious multi-cropping cultivation in this small patch of land for decades. The ground beneath their feet is actually a food store with plenty of underground plants like yam, tapioca, potatoes, sweet potatoes, and other varieties of root vegetables. These plants are an important source of healthy and organic food for the communities in Khatarshnong. Chuyện gia đu niệm không? Từ nó độ pot hình đai của một phi yele cũng nè vậy, phi thắt cũng nè vậy. Bà rõ, có một cái này có khper cái trong phi. Cái này, cái này trong nghe này. Là trong nghe. Để phi thung mình nói như này của ai? Hôm nay bên hôm nay bà sào. Hôm nay bà sào, mình ta được hôm nay bà khát à. Mình ta yalum này. Hadin frap này. Hadin frap này phi yalum. Simpor mo. Mình khôi, mình theo cái nhut. Bà thân bẩn rêu, bên thung. Bà thân bẩn rêu. Thân rêu phi thung một đây không, một đây. Cái juga pol perkara. Baka thung baka ot thung. Baka thung. Thì hang ni ngai ba phi don uneu so riu, phi don bisriu. Phi don unei, phi thung lang juga pol. Phi pun kam sbo, kam dawai hang ni ne. Kam sbo. Don dawai don ni. Tang kum tu bai. Kai bai kemariang. Te hadin ba phi la dap thung hang ni man tau snem nei. La sim snem phin thung biang hang ni ne phin na shoi. Thung shoi. Hang ni mlong shu. Kan no snem pi e kan ni. Aduh khat snem em. Khat snem e. Khat snem. Long phim thung shu hang ni. Thung shu. Long klau e pi e khat snem. So this is basically sustainable farming where these people have planted their crops here this year and they'll leave it for another 12 years before they come and plant it again. So this soil here rejuvenates itself, regenerates all the nutrients. Then when the next time they come and plant the crops here, it's going to be after 12 years. This is traditional sustainable farming. Pishet kum no. Ni pon be jam pon seriu. Pon seriu. Kum pon seriu. Dia bam. Dia bam. Subam ka be kum to. Ni bam ni be jam. Ni umi borok we kene to ka ni. Em ni chuya thung. Chu thung ben mo. Thung ken ne. Thung be ne. Da de ba kan deu he ke to. Long pan ding. Long pan ding. Ba kan deu pan thiang. Rin pan ka ru. Unu thiang. Long pan ka ru mo. Long pan ka ru ne. Pan ka ru long thiang. Unet balad. So what we have observed here is that this plot of land has been used to plant not only millet but plant sesame, potatoes, and this pankara, which is a form of another tuber, and a number of crops which has sustained this family. This is only one family of the Khongramai clan, and they have been cultivating here for generations. The farmers then showed us the traditional process of bundling the millet in jute sacks and beating the millet until the seeds are separated from the pods. The content is then poured into a bamboo tray, and then the winnowing process starts where much of the grain is separated from the husk. Before rice was introduced in Khatarshnong area, millet was a staple food of the people here, and even today it is common to find rice being cooked with powdered millet in many of the villages. The women are much better in the separation process of the grain, and they make it look so much easier. It's a narrative typical of village life where the display of teamwork and family values and bonding are the basic building blocks of the social structure in rural communities. The small households, sometimes 9 to 10, in many of the 47 villages scattered in Khatarshnong, is a viable agrarian model that ensures food security to families for generations. The micro-agrarian economy in the Khatarshnong area has sustained livelihoods and is still relevant today.
So this is a family thing. The whole family comes here, sets up a camp here, sleeps the night, does the harvesting, and what we have here is this tapioca which has been kept in the fire, put in the fire, and this is ready to eat. This is a kind of a snack which they have with water. I'm going to taste a bit of this to see what the taste is like. It's a cross between a potato and a sweet potato. So this is really tasty, it's really nice. And what is more beautiful about this place, about the people here, about the family here is that it gives a sense of, a sense of belonging to the land, a sense of family, where the family comes together. A strong family is a united family. From the fields of millet, we are on our way now to an amazing place. It's a natural pool with a waterfall, which is called Kshaid, Mawsiang, Mlong. Come with us as we trek down these hills, these mountains of Khatarshnong.
Khatarshnong has many hidden, fascinating natural scenery like waterfalls and rock formation. We start on a steep and difficult descent from Khrang village and then climb the opposite ridge, passing through orange orchards and broom grass country on a journey of discovery. The landscape all around us is an amazing one, rugged and wild, but at the same time, its natural organic beauty captivates our senses. We get going and start the long trek, walking down the ancient stone trails and surveying the land ahead of us.
Have to shed off our jackets because the heat is, as we're going down towards the river on a trek, this heat is also increasing, not only because we are walking, but the temperature here, there's a vast difference between the temperature in the valley and in the highlands.
We pass by the broom grass and enter a bamboo grove. The sound of a light shower of rain and flowing water from a stream nearby greets us along the trail.
Surprisingly, it's raining. There's a drizzle in the month of December, and this is what the Khasis call laprao, and it's kind of refreshing because after that long steep climb downwards, it was very hot. Now the air around this bamboo grove is really pleasant and cool.
A few steps away, we passed by a farmer's hut and found some fish traps and baskets, probably made of cane from the bamboo grove we just passed through. Long, narrow strips of cane bundled together for making baskets were kept in a corner. It seemed most likely that the farmers who lived here were also skilled basket weavers.
So we've come to the river Mlong, and this is upstream. Downstream we have the waterfall, which is a really beautiful sight. But what you can see here is this frond called tinrio in the local language. They use this, a bunch of this, to cover the roof of the huts. So this is a unique ecosystem where man lives off the land, and whatever he needs, it comes off the land. It's a perfect example of men living in harmony with nature. Apparently, it is these kind of bridges that have been able to sustain the economy here in Khatarshnong. Without these bridges, it would have been impossible to cross these rivers and carry the crops back to the markets. And this is one such bridge. But our forefathers may have missed this place, because in most of the places you'll have a rubber tree like this one, which is planted recently, joining the other end, and in this place would have been a root bridge. But this is also good enough, and this needs to be repaired from time to time.
We could see the humble beginning of bioengineering of the Ficus elastica root bridge, as strands and vine-like roots were used to tie the bamboo railings and were drawn across the bamboo frame of the bridge. This structure would become a fully mature root bridge in a decade or so. As we climbed across the broomgrass plantations, our young guides make their presence heard through their traditional form of calling, a Khatarshnong communication skill found nowhere else in the world. Shortly, we stepped into the middle of an orange orchard, the slender trees heavy with big round oranges waiting to be harvested. It was a pleasant and welcome sight to see so many oranges, and we were hopeful of getting to taste the fruits and recharging our energy after the long trek.
So we've come to this portion of the Khatarshnong where you can see this orange grove. This is such a wonderful sight, and you can smell this scent of orange in the air. This is a really exhilarating experience. We have with us our guide, Ethelbert, who's going to show us how to climb this orange tree and pluck the oranges.
Ethelbert, his father, and the locals here have a body structure which is inherited and made for this kind of terrain. Big built individuals would find it very difficult to climb the orange trees, which might just break under the heavy weight. We continue on a trek to the waterfall again through the tall, thick broomgrass vegetation. It is essential to carry a dhow to clear the path on this kind of trail, as navigating through the vegetation is slightly difficult and it slows us down considerably. After some 15 minutes, we pass the broom grass and climb a short slope towards the sound of water rushing. We were almost there. Kshaid, Mawsiang Mlong is actually a series of waterfalls that rush down the massive granite rock surface, forming small river pools at regular intervals.
So it was after 1.5 hours of rigorous trekking through stone trails and broomgrass country that we've landed here in this beautiful natural landscape, which has a series of waterfalls, 5 waterfalls. This is Kshaid, Mawsiang Mlong, and this is in Khatarshnong. If anybody wants to come here, they would have to undergo this tough trek. But on reaching here, this is really beautiful.
From a drone camera, one could see that the rock surface, which has been sculpted for ages by the water, appears jointed at various levels. The water, reduced to a narrow stream, flows through the middle across the cracks and crevices. The light green moss has colonized most of the surface during this time of the year. At the peak of the rainy season, this waterfall would probably be a massive rush of water with 20 to 30 times more volume, covering all the surface and certainly unapproachable. The long and difficult trek to this amazing landscape and waterscape was worth the effort taken. Kshaid, Mawsiang Mlong, is hidden from view and is accessible only during the dry winter months when the water volume reduces. This fascinating landscape amidst verdant forests is one of the jewels of Khatarshnong, a must visit for adventurers and serious trekkers, but be prepared for the rough and strenuous trail. We reluctantly left the quietude and serenity of Kshaid, Mawsiang Mlong, the awesome, rugged, broken landscape gradually sinking into our senses. We made a return before sunset to Nongba Mawshuj, a pickup point, following the trail used by the orange and broomgrass farmer cultivators. I take turns at carrying the load of oranges on my back just to experience a bit of what the farmers go through in their journey from the orange orchards to their homes.
This is the last leg of the journey. I'm going to help Ethelbert to carry this load of about 25 to 30 kilos. He has done most of the work. I'll do the rest of the journey. This is a not so heavy load, but my neck needs to adjust to this kind of carriage, and it seems to be easy, but you need to be careful on your steps. And though it's not so heavy, but you can feel the strain, a bit of the strain on your neck, because I'm not used to carrying a car or this conical basket, but carrying these load of oranges is my pleasure. So we are almost there in the village, and this is called responsible traveling, where you help the host a bit of his load. And this is what, in fact, our journey should be like. It was a wonderful journey, and carrying these oranges is even better.
We reached the outskirts of Nongba Maushut, where the villagers were building a footpath under the community and Rega scheme of the government. The building of infrastructure by the community is a beneficial one. It not only provides much needed amenities and physical assets, but in terms of social bonding, it facilitates unity, strengthens social ties, and promotes collective action amongst the village community. While the women folk were busy breaking the stones, the men folk were digging and cutting off the soil to broaden and level the pathway. Others were separating the bay leaf or tezpata from the branches and packing them in sacks for transporting them to the market. We were invited to eat lunch with our hosts.
Atu besajan penhel yustaj nang ni penhel no bran salam bat salengka ngap kia risa ya kajing wan jong mengi ya aps nyobha bel el besajan atu besajan penhel yustaj nang ni penhel no bran nda penhel pat nda wan kum dah penhel yustaj hab le kuku ta la wan ke yut.
So we just heard the woman sing, and this song is related to harvesting. She's calling the breeze, the wind, to blow away the chaff from the grain. What a beautiful song. And this is symbolic of the Khasi civilization, a civilization which has so much to offer. And we are really lucky to see this portion of the civilization, this tradition, this culture in Khatarshnong. Until we meet again in another village, Kublai.